Hi guys, so in this video I'm going to be talking about my David Lynch collection of movies that I have in my collection. So these are all pretty much the theatrical released feature-length movies by David Lynch. You're not going to see any short films in here or alternative cuts or anything like that. So yeah, very, very interesting director to say the least in my opinion. So yeah, that being said, we're going to get straight into it with the first film I've got, and that is Eraserhead. My thoughts and opinions on this film. I think it's really, really good. To be honest, I think it's absolutely a fantastic interpretation of a nightmare fever dream. If I'm honest, some of the imagery in this film is just outstanding, and I absolutely love it. I think it's great. It's not for everyone, in my opinion. I don't think everyone's going to like this film, and that's absolutely fine. That's absolutely understandable. But for me, it is some of the most creative, nightmarish imagery I've ever seen in a film. It's stellar to look at, even though it's horrific, if that makes sense. But yeah, I think it's a great starting point and a great platform. Very difficult film to sort of get your head around, but that's what's great about it. And yeah, I think it's absolutely fantastic. Some of the imagery as well is just, it's horrific. Some of the stuff involving a baby, not to get into spoilers, but yeah, it's just really upsetting, really, really gets you thinking. It's that kind of movie. It's just really, really sort of messes your mind up, and that's what its intention is, and that's what it's there for. It really, really does mess with you, this film. But I love it for that, and I think it's great. So yeah, that is Eraserhead. Next up, we've got The Elephant Man. For me, this is, out of all of David Lynch's films, for me, this is the one that sort of follows a cohesive story and narrative the most, in my opinion. I think this is very much, this film could have been directed by anyone, because I feel as if it doesn't have David Lynch's fingerprints on it. It doesn't really have his auteur style, should I say, to it, really. You know, you couldn't, if you watched the film and didn't know who directed it, I think David Lynch would probably be the last person you would think of. But this, to me, again, is an amazing film. Absolutely amazing film about John Merrick. Absolutely fantastic movie. I don't want to get too much into it. The ending to this movie is just absolutely heartbreaking, though. But it is a fantastic film. Fantastic performance from John Hurt. Anthony Hopkins in there as well. Absolutely brilliant film. And I just absolutely love it. I think it's so good. It's just a fantastic, flawless movie, in my opinion. The Elephant Man. Really, really enjoy it, and it is just, it's brilliant. I can't praise it enough. So yeah, that is The Elephant Man. Next up, we've got David Lynch's interpretation of Dune. I know this is not a lot of people's favourite movie. There's a lot of mixed feelings, I'd say, about this film. I've generally come across the more negative aspects to this movie, really, from people's opinions. I don't mind this film. I had a good time with it for what it was. I don't think it's great by any means. I know David Lynch pretty much despises this film. I know he's pretty much disowned it. I know the original vision he had was roughly about 4 hours, I think the finished product was, and was told he had to cut it down. And yeah, like I said, I don't mind this film as far as it goes. I know like I say, a lot of people don't like it. I think it's got a great cast. Carl McLaughlin, Patrick Stewart, Sting's in there as well. I enjoy it for what it is. Is it perfect? Absolutely not. It's nowhere near perfect, but I still enjoy this little sci-fi movie for what it is. I've never read the book either, so I don't know. I know the new one, the Denis Villeneuve one, which I've seen, which I think is absolutely fantastic and breathtaking. Is the far superior film, but I don't think this one is to turn your nose up at either. I know it's flawed and it has its problems, but there still is some merit to it. I didn't find that this movie was completely void of anything good. I do think there is some good things in there. For me, it was entertaining. I did enjoy it, but it's not by any means David Lynch's best film at all. Nowhere near. Not in the conversation for me. But, it's not unwatchable. I'll say that about it. So yeah, that's my thoughts on Dune. Next up, we've got my favourite David Lynch film. I absolutely adore this film. I think it's brilliant. And that's Blue Velvet. Great cast to this one with Laura Dern, Cal McLaughlin, Isabella Rossellini, Dennis Hopper. Fantastic. I just love the look of this movie too. This sort of suburban American town, and there's just this underlay of horrificness that is going on. Dennis Hopper in this film as Frank Booth is terrifying. My favourite Dennis Hopper performance, in my opinion. He is just off the hook in this film and is just terrifying. Like, when he's around, be somewhere else, because you just don't know what you're in for with him. He's just absolutely, like I said, terrifying. The way he just sort of takes in this oxygen as well to get this high. It's just, oh God, it's horrific. But I do absolutely love this. I love the song as well at the beginning, the Blue Velvet song. I think it's just fits the film so well. The opening sequence of this suburban town, and then it cuts to like all these insects going absolutely insane. It's just so good. I love it. I just think it's a really, really good, solid film. So yeah, that's my favourite David Lynch film, Blue Velvet. I just think it's fantastic. Totally worth checking out. Next up, we've got Wild at Heart with Nicolas Cage and again Laura Dern. Great little crime movie, this one. I love Laura Dern and Nicolas Cage in this film. I think they're great, but for me, the star of the show is Willem Dafoe. He's, has a similar effect on me as Dennis Hopper did in Blue Velvet. I just thought he was absolutely terrifying and just someone you just did not want to get on the wrong side of. But yeah, it's a great little crime movie. These two people getting to know more about each other and learn more about each other. I thought it was absolutely fantastic. Great chemistry between the two leads. And I just really enjoyed it for what it was. So yeah, that was Wild at Heart. I just think it's a great little underrated film. Right, next up, we've got a film in this collection that I shamefully have to admit I haven't actually seen this film. If I'm honest, I've never watched it. And that is Twin Peaks Fire Walk with Me. Now, if someone could let me know in the comments below who has seen Twin Peaks and who enjoys it, or even if you didn't enjoy it, let me know how I should approach Twin Peaks. Like how should I watch it? Should I watch the series first? Should I watch the movie first? Can you watch the movie on its own? I'm going into Twin Peaks very, very blind, shall I say. I do have the original series. I haven't watched it yet. I'm looking forward to it because I've heard nothing but good things. And I do also have the revival series as well, which came out a few years ago. Haven't yet watched any of it. I'm going into it completely blind. But as I say, I've heard nothing but fabulous things about Twin Peaks. I've heard the score as well. The theme music for the episode, which I think is absolutely fantastic. I just love it. It's so simple. But yeah, I just haven't got around to watching anything Twin Peaks related yet. So I can't really comment on the film. I do have it. I do plan on watching it soon. I do enjoy it. But if anyone who is a Twin Peaks aficionado, let me know down below how should I approach Twin Peaks. But yeah, it's something I'm looking forward to. I just don't know how to approach it, that's all. So yeah, that is I do have it in my collection, and like I say, just haven't got around to watching it yet. So yeah, coming up next, we've got Lost Highway. This again is another great little film I couldn't take my eyes off, but I find David Lynch films very hard to explain, and that's a good thing. That's what differentiates him from everyone else, I think. Very, very, unique filmmaker, and Lost Highway again is another great addition to this movie. The scene with Bill Pullman and the Mystery Man. That Mystery Man is absolutely terrifying. There's almost something Joker-esque about the makeup and the way that character looks. I just think it's absolutely terrifying. The pale skin and the dark lips, and the way this crazy as insane sequence unfolds between him and Bill Pullman, and you're just riveted, and it's like, what is going on? This is terrifying. But it sort of follows the two stories of one of Bill Pullman and one of Balthazar Getty. And they both have two tales which involve women, and both women in both stories is played by Patricia Arquette. And yeah, I just think it makes for a great film. Absolute mindfuck. This movie is, I think, and it's just wonderful for that. So yeah, that's my thoughts on Lost Highway. Really, really enjoy it. So coming up next, we've got The Straight Story with Richard Farnsworth, Sissy Spacek, and Harry Dean Stanton. As well, actually a Disney movie. Would you believe a Disney movie directed by David Lynch? I'll get your head around that for a minute. But yeah, this film is it's unique with its approach, I should say. It is pretty much you are watching a guy on a tractor for the entire film. But what makes the film work for me is its payoff at the end. It just really, really is something special. I don't want to get too much into the film or talk about it, because I think this is one that's best approached knowing nothing about it and just going into it completely blind and sticking with it. I do believe it is a film you do have to stick with. I can see a lot of people getting bored and trailing off from this movie, but it still looks great, and it's still a fantastic story, and again, a wonderful, wonderful payoff. So yeah, that's all I'm going to say about The Straight Story. I do think it is a great and solid film, in my opinion. Really, really good one. So next up, we've got Mulholland Drive. This again is another home run for me, from David Lynch. Absolutely wonderful film. About memory loss, shall I say, to say the least, without getting into it. Rediscovery. For me, this movie, what I want to talk about most about this movie is this movie has one of the best jump scares I've ever seen in film. It still gets me, even though I know it's coming. The movie builds up to it so well. It's so simple, and yet it's one of the most effective jump scares ever, in my opinion. I just think it's really, really effective. But yeah, as I say, the build-up's there. You see it, you know it's coming, but it still gets me. I love it when films have that effect where it's like it's coming, but it still gets you. Like the jump scare in Friday the 13th. It's that kind of caliber, shall I say. But yeah, Mulholland Drive, I think it's a wonderful, wonderful film. Absolutely fantastic. Naomi Watts, I think, is brilliant in it. It's got a great cast. Justin Theroux as well. Really, really wonderful film. So yeah, that is Mulholland Drive. And the last movie I've got from David Lynch is Inland Empire. This, for me, I don't know. I just... There were parts of this movie I could, and parts of this movie I just couldn't get into. The conversations in this movie as well are riveting, and you're absolutely hooked. You feel uncomfortable watching some of them. It's just really, really engaging, and it just draws you in so well. But overall, this movie, I think it's one of the weaker Lynch movies, in my opinion. I think it's better than Dune, but it wasn't what I wanted it to be for me. But I still appreciate the movie for what it does. It's not one of my favourites, but I still think it's pretty good and solid, and I appreciate that about it. But it's just not one that I'm ever going to go back to a lot. So yeah, that is Inland Empire. So yeah, that is all of my David Lynch movies. Like I say, the only one I haven't seen is the Twin Peaks movie, Fire Walk With Me, but everything else I really enjoy, and there isn't really a director like David Lynch in my opinion. You know, he makes some really, really good movies that I think are intended to mess with your mind, and they're absolutely riveting and just really, really, interesting watches to say the least. So yeah, I'll leave the video there and I'll just say thanks very much for watching. Hope you've enjoyed it. I'll say stay safe and take care, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye for now.